never going to happen. OK, that's the Superstock, that's to look forward to later on, but we're going to go racing now already with the Superstock Thousands. Danny Buchan was already crowned champion last time out at Silverstone. It's his farewell appearance in the class before he moves to Superbikes. And Jack Bernicle, he starts it from the perfect position.
As it happens, he doesn't, Matt, but I'll tell you about that in a moment, because Danny Buchan, already crowned champion, leads by 33 points from Jason O'Halloran, the man from Wollongong in Australia. Lee Bob Jackson, the Lincolnshire lad, is assured of third place ahead of Adam Jenkinson, last year's runner-up, and Hudson Kenner, last year's champion. Philip Backlund has now departed to BSB. He lies sixth ahead of Joshie Elliott, Joe Burns, and the Johnsons, Danny and David. And this is how the lineup will look. The grid is not like this because Buchan is having to start from the back, having missed the pit lane cut-off time. Jason O'Halloran and Hudson Kenner will be on the front row of the grid. Joshie Elliott, Freddie Foray on the factory Honda, and Adam Jenkinson have qualified well. So too Ashley Beach, Jess Traylor and Victor Cox. Behind them, Joe Burns, Lee Jackson and Johnny Blackshaw. And it has to be said that back in there is number 83, Danny Buchan, being told now. So three people missed the. Mark Finchin and Steve Mercer also missed the pit lane cut-off. So Danny Buchan, with his lovely golden outfit, celebrating the fact he's already the Superstock champ, is starting from the back of the grid. That could make it rather entertaining because we have 14 laps ahead of us, and that means that lads like this man, Jason O'Halloran, already assured a runner-up spot, could be headed for another race victory here at Brands Hatch. Or could he? 14 laps ahead of them. This, the Pirelli National Superstock 1000 Championship, Brands Hatch, final race of the season, and somewhere in the middle of that pack, Dynamite Danny Buchan will be trying to thrust his way through and secure as many places as he can during the opening lap and a half. As they look at this,
big crash!
Two people, three people go down and Druids. There's at least 3 bikes down, there might even be 4. Here come the wonderful race-safe marshals to clear the decks. It only took one man to get it wrong going into there. One of the riders is 45 Tom Fisher on the G&S Racing Kawasaki. But it's Hudson Kenner, Jason O'Halloran, Freddie Foray, Joshie Elliott at the front end, Jess Traylor and Adam Jenkinson. Dropping down the hill, the wide line, the dry line is spreading, but it's still pretty accurate riding required here as they go tonking through towards Westfield along the Minter Straight. Number 1 leading the way, Linksell Trick Motor Racing BMW South African Hudson Kenner.
Yeah, I can tell you something, there are really tricky conditions out there. You can see that it's a dry line in places, very, very patchy. If you go off the line, you are down. So it is a real tricky condition, especially in this opening lap when you haven't got the full heat in the tyres. That's a great example. Look at that, where it's damp, where it's dry.
Wishart and Pellier with the other guys who were involved in that fall up at Druids. Meanwhile, as they go pouring through to complete their first lap, it's Kenner, Foray in second place. Great start. And we've got 2 Hondas running second and third. The former World Endurance Champion Freddie Foray ahead of Jason O'Halloran. Joshie Elliott is up there. They're checking back downfield to see where Danny Buchan's got to. And I can't see him so far. Yes, 17th. Danny Buchan 17th already, so he's just 2 places outside the points, and having set himself an entertaining test in what may be his final appearance in the Superstock 1000 Championship.
Well, it is the final. Look at mid-pack, it's the right middle of your picture there. So the one boy's got down, he takes the other bike out with his legs. We know he's actually all right because we've seen him up, and the other guys just come offline. And but wow, I mean they're all right, all perfectly all right there. But that was probably
Tom Fisher was even lucky because not only did he get taken out, his G&S Racing Kawasaki just bounced and bounced and bounced, James. How much damage can you do?
A lot, and that is gutting. The last one of the year as well, he's probably sold it. So it's never, you know, that is just unlucky, unfortunately. But back at the front, it's Hudson Kenner just ahead of a
really interesting one because Freddie Foray's in there. Now, we've not seen this kind of form from Foray all season, James.
Oh, here he comes as well. So he takes the lead. going into clear race 4A on the Honda there, and no, he's found a little something here, isn't he, Jack?
He really has. It's good to see. Freddie Foray riding number 78 for Honda Racing, now ahead of the former champion, we'd have to say, the 2013 champion, number 1, Hudson Kenner. So it's France versus South Africa with Joshie Elliott at the front.
And the fastest man on the track on that lap was Danny Buchan in 12th at 1:30.8. So he was nearly 1.2 seconds quicker than the leaders, and he is 4.5 seconds down. So let's have a little look at him. And remember, he started dead last on the grid. There's your champion there. You see him just go to the inside here. Danny Buchan up to 11th. We'll keep an eye on him because he is absolutely flying in these tricky conditions.
He chopped underneath Joe Burns then, which put him into the top 10. The black and orange flag is out for bike number 40 because of smoke coming out of it. That's Ben Young, the Canadian, on the Team WD-40 Kawasaki. Meanwhile, as they go streaming out, this is a great ride by 29-year-old Freddie Foray. Comes from Sèvres, 6 miles from the centre of Paris in the southwestern suburbs. He's a double world endurance champion, and he's really putting a cat amongst the pigeons with this ride, heading Hudson Kenner at the front, and then the second wave of riders led by the young Ulsterman Joshie Elliott, ahead of Adam Jenkinson. So a good start for Jenko on the Northern Escalator Racing Kawasaki.
Yeah, those guys look like they're just coming back a little bit to the leaders. As you say, you've got Elliott Jenkinson and then O'Halloran, the man second in the championship. He's there just going through.
And Jenkinson has stormed past Elliott. I think Jenkinson might have hit third place. He has. Jenkinson, O'Halloran, Elliott demoted to 5th. Jess Trailer having a stonking ride in 6th place.
And once again, the quickest man on the track, 1:29.6. Danny Buchan, he's up to 8th. There he is, the second bike to last in the picture there. And Danny Buchan is flying. He was, what was he, 1.8 seconds quicker than the leaders on that lap.
That's a huge gap.
That is a huge gap. This guy has already won the championship with a round to spare. He's had 8 wins so far this year, and at the moment, look at him round the outside. Someone's down. Who have we got down there? Can't see it.
James, that is supreme confidence. Buchan round the outside into Surtees as clean as you like. It's not anybody is passing. It was Victor Cox he was going round.
I know, and it's you like head shaking your head in your helmet going, what? You know, when that happens, how did that happen? That's Harry Hartley, so he's up and he's okay, but Harry Hartley down there on the
Foray still leads the world by leads the race by less than a second. Jenkinson.
Oh, look at Buchan on the damp patch.
Wow.
Oh, lovely.
He's right with O'Halloran now, trying to squeeze his way past the man who's closest to him in the championship.
Wow.
Jason O'Halloran will suddenly feel the heat now from Danny Buchan.
I can't believe he's up to 5th place from last on the grid in a field this large. You know, by lap 4, it's incredible. Now, all year we've seen Danny Buchan. Here's the leaders. So we got Foray, Kenner. Then behind him you'll see Jenkinson, and then it's Jenkinson, Buchan, O'Halloran, Elliott, Trailer, Beach, Cox, Blackwell. That's quick as that.
I think that's waking Jason up. He's latching onto the back of Danny Buchan now to see if he can make any inroads and at least get perhaps dragged through, because Danny is now right round the back wheel of the Cheshire Landscape Gardener. Jenkinson, and Jenko tries to hold him off as they go around Graham Hill Bend. Doug Buchan's having none of it, he's now 3rd.
Yeah,
only on the 5th lap, James.
Look at him using the white line there as well. He really is flying. I mean, he's going to win this race at this rate. I mean, again, fastest up the race, 1:29.4, 0.8 of a second quicker than the leaders. So, and what's he behind? 1.6. So basically 2 laps. Well, I don't even think it'll be that at the pace he's going. Got special colours on to celebrate his win, and he's going to be with him on the end of this lap. Danny Buchan has been incredible this year, and this ride just goes to prove it, doesn't it, Jack?
It certainly does. 8 wins to his credit already. He's after the 9th one right here and right now from the back of
that was a mistake. Oh, he's just got to take a little warning there. He's done the hard work. He's just got to take a breather. We've seen a touch the white line a bit earlier, go a bit hard there. Just relax now. He's going to get them. He's got the time. He's got the pace. Leaves a big black line there. Just got to watch he's not pushing too hard.
So as the leaders cross the line, Freddie Foray is still there at the front. Foray crosses the line first. Hudson Kenner second. Buchan a fairly astonishing third.
128.6 for Danny Buchan. No one else is even in the 20s. You know, he's like absolutely flying.
And here he goes. He's right on the back wheel now of the Money Deporters champion, Hudson Kenner, based down at up at Ashley Durazouche, and he's going to lose that place very quickly. He ruthlessly sits the South African on Buchan second.
Yeah, that's my line out of it, Earthling.
It isn't to see if Danny Buchan can get away with behaviour like this in Superbikes next year, James.
Well, he's signed for a Superbike team next year, Danny has. You know, he wouldn't tell me who. He says he's sworn to secrecy, even when I gave him a Chinese burn. But he said he's not saying at the moment. But we're going to see him in Superbikes, and that's great news. He deserves to be in Superbikes.
He does. So the tall 6'3" Essex boy now right on the back wheel of Freddie Foray, the experienced French endurance world champ, has to yield straight away as they go through Dingle-Dell. Buchan now leads.
In one of the biggest grids, you know, that started with 39 riders out there. Danny Buchan has made it through to the lead from 39th on lap 6. That is incredible.
So 47 has entered the Darrell dance, has danced into the pits with his BMW, while Danny Buchan has just danced to the front, and he's now taking off. No one else has yet broken the 1.5 minute barrier, and he just keeps pulverising. He actually took a 1:29. He backed it off slightly there. He was only a second quicker than Freddie Foray, but he now leads the way. For second place continues unabated. Freddie Foray, oops, having a bit of a moment there out of bottom bend, but looking fairly comfortable. Hudson Kenner, not at the moment. Oh, but Freddie Foray runs wide and then goes off, and that puts Jenkinson off. And Jenkinson made the mistake. I think his concentration just must have been dented by that moment of Foray's.
That's strange. That's strange the way that happened. He went a little bit wide, and then
Freddie Foray, a bit of Gallic
Jenkinson as well, and Foray.
A bit of Gallic frustration there for Freddie Foray, having the best race of his season. And you can see Adam Jenkinson, Jenko looking pretty furious as well.
Let's have a little look at this. So, he goes wide. I think he's just on the damp stuff for... yes, he is. Foray's on the damp. They both... okay. So actually, Foray hit the damp, and that was why he went down. So I couldn't see Jenkins as well. I was watching what happened to Freddie Foray, but I presume that he went a bit wide and touched the damp. And that was what we were talking about earlier, about going offline in these conditions. It's hot, you keep your tyres on the heat, on the dry part, but you wander a little bit wide, and bang, you are down as quick as that.
Well, that's settled the fourth place battle in the championship, James, at the moment, because if Hudson Kenner stays anywhere near where he is on bike number 1, then they'll overtake Adam Jenkinson to place 4th in the championship. And right now, one really impressive ride here for a fella who's kind of made his return to the BSB paddock, number 55, Ashley Beach from Oldham on the Jones Dorling racing Kawasaki, giving them a stonking race. He's right up there with these two. The championship looks like this: 265 Buchan, O'Halloran 223, Jackson already, those three already assured it, but Hudson Kenner moves into 4th place on 120 ahead of the stricken Jenkinson, who stays on 103.
Yeah, there's your leader, Danny Buchan, the champion, and what a rider he's been. We've spoken a lot about him this year, but he deserves it. And there's been another colossus in this class, and that's been Jason O'Halloran on the Honda as well. He's been, I know he's only grabbed the one win, but consistent, he's had 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds.
7 seconds. Yeah.
7 seconds, and he really has been. That's the man we're talking about. The second by in a picture, number 122, Jason O'Halloran. He's done a brilliant job this year as well. He's been one of the few people that's been able to go with Danny Buchan on that gorgeous Barblade bike there. And he's you know, he's done a great job. He's anchored that second spot. And obviously the other man on the podium in this class was Lee Jackson on the Bill-based BMW, who again, you know, those three have been consistent, and you know, that top three was already decided before this round.
Number 55, James, this is a great performance by Ashley Beatty, because he only came in partway through the season on the Jones Dorling bike, and he's really made it count. And this is best race yet. This is Joshie Elliott. He's already had a podium finish earlier in the season. He's running in 5th place, and a good ride right behind him from Jess Trailer, riding number 8 on the Morello Racing Kawasaki.
So Ashley, I'm just having a little look here. I mean, this is by far his best ride, isn't it? For Ashley Beach. He's had a 10th spot, so Ashley Beach in 4th on the orange and white and black bike there, just going through the picture, doing a super job.
Luke Quigley, a former rostrum finisher overall and a medalist in this championship, is running strongly in 7th place. He's closing the gap a bit on Joshie Elliott, although right down there, as they plunge downhill there, Luke had a massive off there in the British Superbike Championship a couple of seasons ago. It obviously hasn't left a mental scar, because he's now coming right up on the back of Elliott and Trailer. Those are the 3 bikes in picture as they go through Sterling's.
Yeah, he's doing a good job there. You can see Quigley closing in on them.
Quigley actually finished 3rd in this championship in 2003, 2006 and 2011. Super consistent performer in Superstock 1000. Meanwhile, O'Halloran pressing Hudson Kenner to see if he can get that runner-up spot, as he so often has done, looking for an 8th second place finish this season.
Yeah, and he's going to be in the fight there. But what about Ashley Beach as well? Ashley in there and looking comfortable.
He made his name in the 125s, James. Yeah. And this is an impressive, you know, getting to grips with the 1000 is really impressive.
Yeah, no, the Oldham rider did a good job on the Kawasaki there, number 55, and to even hang with these guys, it's great. I mean, he's had 1 top 10, so this will be a great result. If he can grab 4 or better, he might even get on the podium.
So Buchan missed the battle, Kenner, O'Halloran and Beach, and then the other battle going on, Elliott, Trailer, Quigley, and then behind them is the fight between Joe Burns and Johnny Blackshaw, 2 northerners of course, Burns from Newcastle, Blackshaw from Cheshire, and Warrington in Cheshire. And 10th place for your friend Dan Johnson, who of course was the guy who first brought the Jones Dorling Kawasaki to the front.
Yeah, he did indeed, and he's just come through the right-hand side of the picture there as you see Quigley is nearly on the back of Trailer now, isn't it? And behind them Burns is bridging that gap too. Joe Burns, number 53, just coming through there. He's slowly closing up on those guys too.
Burnsy wore a retro open-faced bell helmet for the sighting laps for this race. I'd have been thoroughly entertained if he kept it on for the actual race.
Well, you can't have an open-faced race.
Used to though, didn't you? Remember those big bodies the Americans used to favour? As they burst up the hill into Druids, then we're on the 12th lap of 14.
He's coming up a little move, yep, Trailer. He's been looking for a way past Elliott, and he makes that stick. Behind them you can see Quigley, and Burns is nearly there. And then behind them you've got Blackshaw, Cox, and then Johnson.
You know, you've been in the British Superbike paddock a few years when a lad like Jess Trailer has grown about 10 inches in the time you've known him. He's now about 6'2", and he's beginning to get to grips with the 1000. He's pushed past Joshie Elliott and tries to gap in now. Elliott number 10 on the, I'll say this once, GA Socialites Electric Cigarettes Kawasaki tries to make a move back, and I think he will make it stick through Hawthorne. Not quite.
Tight there, such a fast corner. These guys really scrapping it out. Obviously lap 12, 14, not long left. There's your leader, Danny Buchan. Remember, he started from last, and he got to the lead by lap 6. But then this is your battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Hudson Kenner from O'Halloran, from Beach.
Yeah, it must certainly be drying out, James. Look at those times. The top 12 are now under 1 minute 30. It was only Danny Buchan who punctured that barrier for the first 10 laps.
Yeah, I mean, they are quick times. The lap record is a 1:27.6, set by Lee Jackson in the dry, so 1:28.6. You know, that is a second off in these conditions is an exceptionally fast time.
Onto the penultimate lap of 14. Buchan with a 1.887 advantage, which he's been very happy to just let stay pretty much as it is and let these guys scrap it out behind him.
Yeah, he has. Well, he backed it off a significant amount on that last lap. I mean, 1.8, obviously you can afford to give another 0.8, 0.9 on the lap. He won't want to back off too much, not with these lot in a scrap, but actually Beach looks like he's just fractionally been dropped in that last section. So it's between O'Halloran and Hudson Kenner, and for sure the BMW's got the legs on that Honda down the straight. If you look how close he is here, you can actually see it just grunting away as it comes down there. And O'Halloran closes it down a little bit on the brakes again, and it's going to be difficult for him to make the pass. Hudson Kenner, oh look at it. I tell you what, Bucket has backed it off another big chunk. He's really coming towards him. I'm slightly surprised. Oh no, he's probably still got plenty enough. It looked a bit more than that in the last pictures, but you know he has certainly given it. It was nearly 3 seconds. It's 1.8 with a lap and a bit to go.
Hurricane Hudson Kenner, the former champion then from last year, just in front of the former runner-up in this championship, who will be runner-up again this year, Jason O'Halloran. There is their battle for second place in the race. Buchan crosses the line now. Let's just check his lap time.
This is the best spot though. This is where O'Halloran should try and go up the inside for Paddock here. This is where I'd do it. It's not quite close enough. You can see him skipping. Hudson Kenner making a block. But what he could do now, try and square it off and do a block pass coming up here into Druids. Again, can't quite do it. Hudson Kenner great on the brakes there, not giving him an opportunity. There's another one down into Graham Hill Bend here, dive up the inside. Oh, he thought about it, but he can't make it stick. Trouble is now Hudson Spice got the legs on this next section, so he's just got to try and stick with him and get a really good drive. And Hudson Kenner's doing a great job down the BM.
Yeah, he can
Danny Buchan's dropped another chunk.
Kenner can make himself very wide when he needs to, James. It's always been one of his strengths.
Well, I think it's not how. There's Danny Buchan there in the picture. You know, he's just sort of, he's backed it off. I mean, he's got all the control, but he's, has he got a problem?
I'll tell you what, Hudson Kenner's got a target now. He's after Buchan, isn't he? We're on the final lap. We're plunging down Dingledale, or at least these guys are. Buchan leads it. There's Hudson Kenner, last year's champ. Right behind him is the Honda of Jason O'Halloran, and they've just kept on closing the gap over the last 3 laps. Hudson Kenner, runner-up in 2008 in the British Supersport Championship, 3rd in 2007 in Superstock South.
Oh, look at O'Halloran!
O'Halloran lunges through as they go through clearways into the Clark curve. He snatches second place. Buchan is going to hold on for his final. What happened in the line? Buchan.
He got beaten.
Got it.
He got beaten.
O'Halloran got it by 0.041 of a second. O'Halloran gets his second race win of the season.
But that was what I was saying. I couldn't believe how much he was. He's got a problem, I think. He's got a problem, but I stopped on the track. I mean, I thought he was backing it off too much. He's too. No, he's not. Oh, he's a scrappy end to a brilliant season.
That's a great word for it, James. A scruffy end. O'Halloran somehow scruffs a race win by 0.04 of a second on the line from Buchan and Kenner.
He must have thought he had more than that. I didn't understand it because he was in such a groove to back on that much, that quickly. It just seemed crazy, but he lost it.
So a victory then goes to Jason O'Halloran and Honda. A dramatic finish to the final race of the season in the National Superstock 1000 Championship. There is the race win for Jason O'Halloran on Honda Racing's Fireblade, somehow squeaking past Danny Buchan's Kawasaki by 0.041 of a second. Hudson Kenner takes 3rd place. Ashley Beach, an excellent 4th for the Jones Dawling Kawasaki squad, ahead of an equally brilliant 5th place for Jess Traylor for Morello Racing. Joshie Elliott 6th, ahead of Joe Burns, Johnny Blacksaw, Dan Johnson and Victor Cox. We lost Luke Quigley. He dropped back to 11th place on his Beamer, ahead of Lee Jackson. And the final point scorers, Connor Cummings, Kyle Wilkes and James Egan. The final standings in the championship then at the end of that entertaining fisticuffs. Danny Buchan still has the advantage, of course, by 28 points over Jason O'Halloran, who is clearly ahead of Lee Jackson. Hudson Kenner leapfrogged Adam Jenkinson into 4th place. Joshie Elliott took 6th overall. Philip Backlund and Joe Burns level in 7th on 88 points apiece ahead of Dan Johnson and David Johnson. 11th place in the championship for Victor Cox ahead of Josh Day. Jess Traylor moved to 13th place ahead of Freddie Foray, who was leading the race in 2nd when he crashed. Luke Quigley in 15th ahead of Dominic Usher, Gavin Hunt, Robertson Egan and the splendid Ashley Beach. The final 14-lap race of the season with Danny Buchan starting from the back of the grid, elbowing his way through the pack as Jason O'Halloran hits the front on the Honda Fireblade. But very early on, there's a problem that takes out, look at Tom Fisher's barrel rolling GNS Racing Kawasaki there as 3 riders fall at Druids. Jason O'Halloran cuts through to the front ahead of, I beg your pardon, Freddie Foray cuts through to the front on his Honda ahead of the former champion Hudson Kenner. But look at Buchan, he is eating up places. Within 5 laps, he's threatening the front runners. He's already overtaken O'Halloran. He outbreaks Adam Jenkinson fiercely down the hill into Graham Hillbend. That thrusts him through to 3rd place from the back of the grid. Then he does the same to 2nd place Hudson Kenner, even more vigorously. The elbows are out, the knees are out. Danny Buchan's on the rampage, and he's now right behind Freddie Foray, and he very quickly dispatches the double world endurance champion. The Frenchman almost moves aside as Danny bursts his way through. So Buchan, newly already crowned champion, leads the way, and then this happens, running wide and then off. Freddie Foray, Adam Jenkinson goes down at the same time, loses his chance of 4th place in the championship. Freddie Foray and Jason O'Halloran fighting with number 1 Hudson Kenner, closing the gap all the time on the long-time race leader Danny Buchan. And as they storm for the line, O'Halloran just gets round the outside of Buchan and takes a completely unexpected 2nd race win of the season for Honda.
3rd place in that race, Hudson Kenner. What a finish that was, Hudson.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I was just hanging in there really. I thought we saw Danny coming back, and he tends to fade a little bit at the end of the race. I thought we could have him, but you know, really that race was all about just for finals, and a big thank you to all the boys that supported us the whole year, all the team, my dad, and obviously the sponsors, Trick Moto, Linksale, Sportec, all the rest of the guys. Without them we wouldn't be here, and hopefully we're back next year on a BMW doing the same thing and try and get the #1 plate back.
We'll look forward to seeing that. Well done, Hudson.
Cheers guys, bye-bye.
2nd place today then is the National Superstock champion, Danny Buchan. Danny, what happened at the end there?
Oh, you know, it's just we missed the grid. We had a slight problem with the bike, and yeah, we missed the grid. You know, the Kawasaki hasn't missed a beat all year, so it was yeah, you know, we just got out there in the race, and I started dead last, and I'm like, right, this is gonna be some fun. This is gonna be fun, and yeah, I just got stuck in, got up to the front, could pull a gap. And like 5 laps to go, the bike started slowing down, and we're not sure of the problem, but it was, I think it was what occurred at the start, and that's why we missed the grid. So it was, but yeah, I mean, it's been a good year to come away champion. Jason to get the win there. He said he was hanging off the back of the bike trying to get there. So yeah, he managed to do it, and yeah, I just can't thank my sponsors enough. Wenby Plastics, Ultimate Retail Solutions, Sharp, Furigan, ePay Me, Kawasaki, Mum, Dad, Nan, Grandad, everyone for coming out today. It's been a good year, and it's nice to end it on a high. Even though I weren't fastest, it was yeah, it's good fun. So thank you.
I think you were fastest today. That was an incredible performance. Well done.
Cheers.
And the winner of the final Superstock 1000 race of the season is Jason O'Halloran. And Jason, I'm sure you couldn't be happier with the win there. Your eyes lit up, I'm sure, as you came through the final turn and saw Danny in front.
Yeah, you know, the first part of that race was so sketchy, and I was just steady away. You know, I just thought just chip away, and then the 2 guys in front of me fell down, and I thought, right, I can move forward to a podium position here. I'll be happy with that. And you know, towards the end, I seen Danny coming back to us, and I was closing on Hudson, and I was just looking for a way by him, and it took about 3 laps to pick where I was going to pass him, and I thought, right, I'll do him into the last, into clearways. I got by him and come onto the straight, and I thought, yo, Danny's slowing down here, I'm going to get him, and I was all tucked in and hanging off the back of the bike, trying to go faster, and I managed to get there. So, you know, fantastic way to finish the season. You know, 2 wins there, that's our 2nd win, and big thanks to everyone at Honda Racing. You know, Neil and Nick Campolucci, they done a special design bike for me for that race. you know, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, thanks for a great season.
Certainly contributed to a great season from a spectator's perspective as well. So well done, Jason.
No worries, and big thanks to all my personal sponsors. You know, great job all year.
So a wonderful climax to the season then in the Superstock 1000 Championship, and a great result for an absolutely exultant Jason O'Halloran. O'Halloran from Wollongong, New South Wales, 50 miles south of Sydney on the narrow Pacific coastal strip alongside Mount Kira and the Illawarra Escarpment. It's affectionately known as the Don, and it produces endless numbers of top-flight Australia. I don't know what it is in the slate there, in the quarries and the mines, but it produces an endless supply of top-class Australian motorcycle racers. The latest one being Jason O'Halloran, who was the Australian Supersport champion in 2007. Finished second this championship in 2012, and he's finished second again in 2013, this time on bike number 122. Danny Buchan, of course, for the Qingdao WK Racing Kawasaki team, started from the back of the grid, looked as if he'd done everything he needed to, absolutely munched his way through, and then